the search for baby Emmanuel. We saw the search groups out on Sunday, and today there was no searching.
Right now at 11, new developments in the case of baby Emmanuel. His father seen in a prisoner jumpsuit today, helping detectives search through a field in Riverside County.
Turkey vultures, hell, you'll see 30 of them above something that's dead, about the size of a rabbit. So a human, from what has been studied, turkey vultures alone can actually strip flesh off to the bone in less than 8 to 10 hours.
Emmanuel, his father, seen in a prisoner jumpsuit today, helping detectives search through a field in Riverside County.
Let me just say, the father did not help in the search. The father was there, the monster was there to direct them to where they dumped this baby. So I just want to correct these reports, and I know reporters have a job to do, and I get it. They have to make it sound nice, but make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, this monster, this evil demon did not help search for the very baby that he murdered, his son. He did not help. So let's get that straight.
Haro, the baby's father, Jake Haro, was also at the location with detectives.
In my experience, when somebody is being let out and being escorted to a particular area to look for a body who has been unaccounted for and they believe is a victim of a murder, that tells me that the person is sharing enough information.
I want to just piggyback off of what retired LAPD Detective Moses Castillo said here. This perp, this monster, Jake Haro, he is separated from his wife, Rebecca. So there's a chance here, ladies and gentlemen, there's a chance that he is telling investigators that the wife did it. You know, that pointing the finger at each other. There's a chance that he is telling them, my wife killed the baby. This is where she dumped him. This is what she told me. It could be something as sinister as that, or it could be something as simple as he wants to maybe get some leniency. Because as we know, in his previous charges of torturing and brutally assaulting his daughter, he received a slap on the wrist, 6 months. So maybe for cooperation, they promised him something. There's those two possibilities. And there's also a third possibility that he was trying to clear his conscience, which I doubt. I doubt that. But that could be one of 3 possibilities of why he went out. Given the mountainous terrain and so forth, what are some of the challenges that cadaver dogs have in finding the remains of a little, small, 7 to 9 month old baby, Brian?
Absolutely, the biggest challenge is odor movement. Most cadaver dog handlers study scent theory, and scent theory tells us that odor moves and behaves in unusual ways. Things that you wouldn't normally expect. You think, oh, well, it's coming from over there, I smell it. But that's not necessarily always the case. Odor can move up, it's called chimney, and it can move up through the trees and then catch a breeze and drop down on the ground 20, 30, 40, even 100 yards away. So where you're smelling it over here, it's actually coming from way over there. So that's the biggest challenge. And with the hills and the valleys and the terrain changes, in the morning, you know, odor can go downhill. And in the afternoons, the odor may move uphill. And it's always a challenge for a canine handler to put their dog in the best position to make the find. And so understanding scent theory is a big part of that. A dog can take a conglomerated odor, many odors, and separate that odor into multiple scent pictures and say, okay, that's not a target, that's not a target, that's not a target, that is a target. And that's what we do is we work hard to imprint these dogs on target odors. And for a cadaver dog, that's going to be human tissue, blood, bone, hair, teeth, skin, you know, whatever we can get.
That's an interesting statement that you made there, and obviously a true one. But many times when these monsters who murder their own children or just murder somebody, they will discard them like garbage, and they will discard them amongst garbage in garbage containers. We see people go to different large communities where multiple people are taking their garbage, and they figure, mix in. These dogs, they can detect the difference between
Absolutely.
smell, human odor, decomposing human odor, and garbage or anything else, correct?
If the dog is trained properly, absolutely. That's what we call proofing. So one of the things we do is we proof our dogs off of common distractions that you might find.
Again, this isn't indicative of exactly what they did during the whole course of the 10 or 12 hours or however many hours they were out there. There was a lot of personnel there. This is what the news has fed us. I want to talk, Dave and Brian, about the indigent wildlife that's out there. I mentioned in the beginning of the show, Moreno Valley, 60 freeway at Gilmore Springs Road. I did a search. It's about 26 miles from the residence and 20-something miles from the alleged reported abduction, which we know is bullshit. So it's a 20-some-odd mile distance from the residence. As I looked up the wildlife, they put feeder deer, mountain lions who feed on the deer, bobcats, coyotes, mule deer, wild donkey, turkey vultures, reptiles, birds, raptor-like hawks, rattlesnake, spiders, tarantulas, red diamond rattlesnakes, South Pacific, highly toxic and venomous rattlesnakes, gopher and king snakes. Dave,
turkey vultures alone is enough on a child to just take that down to absolutely nothing. Your snakes, your things like that, they're not gonna do anything with the human, the body itself. It's going to be the coyotes, the bears, the
mountain lions.
Again, they're going to be drag and go. It's a quick meal. I mean, it would be nothing for one coyote to sit there and drag that back to a den, and this child may never be found. I hate to sit there and even think that. It's appalling to me.
I felt the same thing, that, oh my God, due to the time and due to the size of this child, being out in the heat is just tremendous. All the conditions, the indigent wildlife, the amount of time, and this poor baby may never, ever find anything. There's no chance that Baby Emmanuel is still alive or sold. I believe that these monsters murdered him, and Jake has past violent propensity against his own flesh and blood with his daughter in 2018. So you got to realize who we're dealing with. These are monsters, and Jake is 32 years old. So he's been harming children, his own children, since 2018, since he was in his 20s. This guy's a piece of human garbage. I'm trying not to curse. He's a piece of shit.